Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again.
What is it you want to know, miss?
To tell you the truth, I'm looking for Mr. Hans Vorarlberg. He's the sole heir of a very unusual factory. My company is in charge of negotiations for the takeover of this factory. At last word, he was living in Siberia, so as soon as my train is ready, I'll be continuing my journey eastwards.
Siberia. Ah, Siberia. But what was it you said again?
Said what?
You mentioned a name. The person you are looking for.
Vorarlberg. Hans Vorarlberg. Do you know him?
Hans Vorarlberg. How could I forget him? Such an extraordinary fellow. So inventive. We shared a passion for mammoths, you know, and we bonded over this passion. Without it, I confess, I would have had little to do with an odd, ageless retard like Hans. At the time, we were both students. Well, sort of. Put it this way. Hans had special permission to attend paleontology lectures. You see, he didn't really have the necessary qualifications. In exchange, Hans did a few odd jobs around the university.
Your Hans Vorarlberg sounds uncannily like the one I'm looking for.
I'm not sure, my dear. Hans was above all questions of money and business. Just to imagine him running a factory, perish the thought.
Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He was always a mystery to me. He never said very much, and never quite seemed to grasp what you said to him. He expressed himself instead through his incredible mechanical contraptions. His inventions, I admit, have been much appreciated by the university. The few times we really did talk, it was about his strange interest for mammoths and a doll. Some sort of doll that obsessed him.
A doll, you say?
Yes, he kept talking about it. One day he described it to me. A sort of children's toy. A miniature mammoth mounted by a mout. It appears he found it in a cave not far from his home. The event all sounds very dramatic. His account was slightly confused, but it awoke a great interest in me.
What do you mean?
To my knowledge, there was only one tribe who made figurines featuring a mout, and that tribe is the Yukols. They live in the farthest reaches of Siberia, and for them, the dolls constituted a sacred object, illustrating one of their central legends. How such a doll made the journey from the frozen Siberian north to a cave in the French Alps is a mystery to me. Even today, it is beyond my comprehension.
Have you considered that Hans Vorarlberg was maybe making it up? You said yourself he didn't seem to have all his mental facilities intact.
No, that's impossible. Hans couldn't invent a story like that. The doll is a sacred part of the Siberia legend. He described it to me in exact detail. Siberia itself is a chimera that paleontologists of the world are very fond of pursuing.
I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again. Professor, I have brought you something that should be of interest to you. Look.
What have you got there, then? Let's see. An effigy of a mammoth. But this is Hans' doll, is it not? Yes, of course it is. How on earth did you... Oh, my God. It's in my hands. It exists. It really exists. Please do excuse me. I'm deeply, deeply moved.
You see? Your Hans and my Vorarlberg heir are one and the same.
This is incredible. After all these years, how can I ever thank you, my dear? Oh, I must waste no time. I'm off to my laboratory. I must study this carefully. May I borrow your treasure a moment?
Well, actually,
Don't worry, miss. I will take the greatest care of it. But I need to study it. You see, it has such importance to me that this very afternoon I shall deliver an impromptu lecture to my students about this very object. If you are interested in Hans Vorarlberg, then it is essential that you attend.
do you think so?
Obviously. Give me your telephone number and I will call you the moment my lecture begins. I will return you your doll at the end. You have my word. What is it you want to know, miss?
Your Hans Vorarlberg sound... Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He was always a mystery to me.
I'll leave you in peace.
Sorry?
I don't need that for the time.
Hans, I have some very sad news. Our father is dead. He passed away peacefully last Sunday in his sleep. I feel so lonely now.
Father had been but a shadow of himself since your departure. I had to take care of everything for him. Housework, factory paperwork, the workforce, clients, everything. And now, today, well, I really don't know who or what I'm fighting for. Times are so hard, and this terrible war is destroying everything. Nobody cares for our automatons anymore. I just think about you returning. And when you do return, I will have turned this factory into a palace worthy of your genius. Please take care of yourself. I love you so much, Anna.
What is it you want to know, miss?
You wouldn't know where the forest Sauvignon plants are kept in Barkstadt, would you?
Why do you think there are Sauvignon plants here?
I read about it in a book at the library.
Try going to see the station master. If such a shrub exists, he will have a better idea than anyone.
It's actually he who sent me to you. I thought it a little strange, but he definitely said ask the paleontologist. You're the only one here, aren't you?
Yes indeed. What a strange way to behave. Well, I think he must have made a mistake, that's all. Nobody tells me anything here. Maybe you should ask the rectors. After all, they are in charge of the university.
All right, thanks. I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Gentlemen, forgive me for disturbing you again, but I have a little problem.
A little problem. Everyone has little problems now, you know.
They are kept to oneself, and they don't stop the world from turning.
Nor trains from leaving stations.
Are you sure there are no Amazon Sauvignon plants in Barkstadt? Because I have just interviewed the station master and the paleontologist, and what they said really didn't convince me that there wasn't any here.
We are quite definite on this point. There are no Sauvignon plants growing in Barkstadt.
You see, miss, the Amazon Forest Sauvignon is a rare shrub that requires very special conditions for growth.
That's right. Conditions that are very hard to reproduce, believe you me.
Difficult, but not impossible. Fortunately, our garden has proved very successful.
Your garden? So, there is a garden in Barrickstadt?
Oh, the garden. Well, if there was one, it would be only a little garden hidden behind the station. But our station master would be very proud of it.
He would take very good care of it, too. Everything would grow marvelously if we were able to cultivate it at all, and it would be all down to his gardening prowess.
And we would be proud as punch. And we wouldn't forget the role the paleontologist might play in this.
What's the paleontologist got to do with it all?
Without him and without his laboratory, how would we make the wine, do you think?
And it would be good wine indeed, my dear colleagues, would it not?
Oh, yes, a delightful balm to soothe away our long hours of toil and our heavy responsibilities.
We would wait impatiently every year for the arrival of the year's produce.
So, if I have understood you correctly, there are indeed Sauvignon plants in Barrickstadt. They are cultivated in a garden behind the station, then turned into wine by the paleontologist's loving care, and finally, the pleasure of tasting is yours. If I'm not very much mistaken, gentlemen, you have a minor racket operating here.
Miss, you do go jumping to some hasty conclusions.
We never said that. That's not what we said at all.
We were talking in the conditional, you know, with ifs and woulds.
So, what would happen if I had such a hunch?
You would have to keep it to yourself, of course.
Yes, if you would be so kind as to keep it a secret. It would only be a small local concern, producing barely a few bottles every year.
That's right, nothing so grandiose as a business. Otherwise, we'd be liable to be fined. So, we can't count on your discretion, can't we?
Don't worry, I have no intention at all of getting messed up in anything.
Here we are, busy chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already? My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen. Excuse me, Station Master, but I need you again.
Can't you see I am very, very busy?
No.
Well, I am. Very busy indeed. But, okay, I think I can give you a minute of my time.
You have been playing with me, haven't you? You knew very well there were forest Sauvignon berries in the station garden.
No, not at all. I've never seen your Sauvignon thing.
You don't have to lie to me. I know all about it. You and the rectors are in cahoots, and the professor's lab has been turned into a distillery. You've all got a nice little smuggling racket on the side.
Smuggling racket? Hey, lady, you're going a bit far there. It's just a little on-the-side thing we got going, that's all. It's just for ourselves. Hey, honest.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. Aren't you worried about the reputation of this fine university? The authorities should be informed of this.
But we haven't done anything wrong. It's not a crime.
Can you open the gate to the garden, please?
Oh, sure. No problemo. Right away, miss. we are. Please feel free to visit the garden at your leisure. And there was just one thing. I'm not a liar. Not really. Just mum's the word. There is the reputation in the university to think about, and I have superiors, and I have to do what I can.
I understand. Don't you worry.
Thank you, miss. Yeah, miss, please, excuse me.
Yes?
You know, I want to apologize for our little misunderstanding. I brought you a bottle of wine. Markstadt Sauvignon. Very good year. Let me know what you think.
I'm very touched. Thank you.
Good luck on your journey, lady.
Thank you. Impossible to reach it. Gentlemen, forgive me for disturbing you again, but I have a little problem.
A little problem, a little problem. Everyone has little problems now, you know.
They are kept to oneself, and they don't stop the world from turning.
Nor trains from leaving stations.
Gentlemen, I have managed to repair your university bandstand.
The bandstand is playing again. This is marvelous news.
We are really very grateful indeed.
Yes, very grateful indeed. We will look back on your visit with much fondness in our hearts.
And now let us in turn honor our word. How much is it you need, miss?
$100, if it's not too much to ask.
We agree to grant you the aforementioned sum, miss. You may now leave with your train.
And while we're on the subject, when will you be leaving?
Yes, because now you should relocate your train as quickly as possible. Here we are, busy chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already? My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen. There you go. Here's your money. I've checked it. It's all there. Ah, thank you. Not difficult get dollar. See? You are a real businesswoman. I'm not the only one around here. We pleased to do deal with you. Now, you open lock or we no help you. Why didn't you manage to open them? After all, you don't have to be a genius.
Ma vorbat pensiero esto? Declina madam. No se sei marales non comprendo en allora kaput en andere bordel. Zirs var moi. On boom telefonieren kaput.
My husband say instructions complicated. No understand manual. My husband angry. Very angry. Oh, now telephone broke. Kaput. Now that is annoying. What are you going to do next? We wait repairman. Well, I don't have the time to wait. I'll have to go have a look. There must be some way of releasing the opening mechanism. Take key. Sailor always need key for lock. Okay, thanks.